Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you have a blank piece of paper in front of you, clock is ticking, your grades are on the line, and your mind is just blank. You don't know what to write. And even worse, you didn't really study for it, so now you're like paralyzed by this fear of beginning. And it's a very common scenario outside of the world of just tests and school. We often wait for the perfect moment, or the moment when we're truly ready, the ideal conditions, or just waiting for that perfect preparation when you feel like you're properly ready to do the task. But here's the secret. The perfect time rarely comes. The key is to just start. I mean, hey, if you submit a blank piece of paper on a test, you're gonna get more than an F in your report card. So if I had to choose, I would have at least written something, like an apology letter, a properly written apology letter, and submit that rather than a blank paper. In essence, any action is better than none. And that principle applies to pretty much anything. Starting doesn't really require any perfection. It requires action. Whether it's writing that paper, whether it's writing a book, creating a new routine, creating a new gym plan, or just showing up at the gym. The biggest and hardest step and the biggest hurdle is often taking that first step. And remember, there's nothing to be ashamed of it. Everyone was once a beginner. Every expert was once a beginner. Allow yourself to be imperfect and embrace the messiness of the journey. And as you move on, you might find yourself with better ideas and solutions. Think of it like riding a bike. It takes a bit of wobbling and falling down to find your balance. And guess what? That wobbling part is part of the process that helped you learn how to properly ride a bike. It doesn't matter how many articles or YouTube videos you watch on how to ride a bike, unless you experience it yourself, unless you find your own way of riding a bike, it's pretty much going to be nearly impossible finding yourself going downhill at like 60 kilometers per hour when you've just started riding a bike. Which goes back to my first point, there really is no perfect timing. Yeah, you might be mentally a little bit better when you watch 10 more videos on how to ride a bike, but most likely those experiences are gonna help you ride a bike. So if you feel like you're stuck or you're afraid to start, just take a deep breath and remember that your future self will thank you. With every small action, you can start building your momentum. And I feel like that is much more important. So if you feel like you're stuck or you're just afraid to take that first step, just remember, everybody was once a beginner. The more you make mistakes earlier on, the better you off later. Because the older you get more responsibilities. And that's when things get a little scary. That's when you should feel a little bit afraid of starting something new. That's when you should kind of think twice before starting. But when you're young and you want to start your first business, or you want to start your YouTube channel, or like a test, if you're just afraid to write a perfect essay, just start. You can always go back and fix things. Remember, all great journeys begin with a single step. As always, I'm rooting for you, and have a good one. I'll see you in the next video. It's like -6 degrees again. Pretty cold today.